True Sky, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the month of August. So, I have already shuffled and spread the first deck out for you here. And the first deck I'm using here is the Tarot of the Sorceress. So August is quite an interesting month. It is the eclipse season, and being a true sky Scorpio, it could be challenging for you. Traditionally, Leo and Scorpio and Aquarius, being fixed signs, challenge each other with their positions. You know, very powerful signs we are talking about. They have the royal stars, the 4 royal stars in them. That is why they are classified as fixed, because of the royal stars. So your royal star, Scorpio, is Antares, the red star. And at the moment, we've got the total solar eclipse and new moon in Leo on the 12th of August coming up. We also have a partial lunar eclipse and full moon in Aquarius on the 27th to the 28th of August. So depending on what part of Scorpio, true sky Scorpio, your placement or placements are in will kind of depend on the challenge and how, you know, tight that is or close. It might be somewhat distant, so it might not be as strong for you. The core themes around the new moon and total solar eclipse are releasing pride, stopping the need for constant external applause, and resetting your core creative identity. The tensions ongoing from the full moon, partial lunar eclipse at the end of August, will be around individual self-expression and collective responsibility. Group belonging versus individual sovereignty. And interestingly enough, we do still have quite a few ongoing aspects this month, with the Uranus-Pluto trine still happening, which will actually happen for many years into the future. However, you know, it won't always be close. Sometimes, you know, because the planets retrograde and things, they move around. So yeah, it won't always be exact, but it will come and go over the next few years. And we do have it really close at the moment. So this Uranus-Pluto trine helps ease the fear of the unknown and encourages fresh practical solutions. So that's that Uranus in true sky Taurus and the Pluto in true sky Capricorn. So obviously then we are referring to that Saturn influence from that Pluto in Capricorn, which is in Pisces currently, which is also retrograde, and the Uranus in true sky Taurus. Taurus is linked with Venus, and Venus is actually in true sky Virgo as of the 1st of August, which is actually in detriment for Venus. Venus is not that happy in Virgo. So the Saturn retrograde we're currently in will not end until around the 10th of December. And the Neptune retrograde we're currently in will also end around December the 12th. And the Pluto retrograde we're currently in will end around the October 16th. So definitely some interesting themes brought up this month. And also we do still have Mercury in true sky Gemini, and we also have Mars. It is quite interesting that we do have this occurring, because it also means that Mars is currently squaring true sky Venus. Well, it would be even in the tropical, sorry. So the aspects actually don't change between the systems. It's the signs. So in the true sky, it was Mars in Gemini squaring Venus in Virgo. So these are kind of underlying energies here. And then we still have Mercury in true sky Gemini. It's not retrograde anymore, which is great. Around that new moon, solar eclipse, a little bit before that and after as well, that Venus in Virgo will form a grand trine with that Uranus-Pluto trine, which I think is quite a nice, addition to that Uranus-Pluto trine that we have, that underlying energy, which is that long-term transit. And even though Venus isn't in a source of strength, it does bring that real earthy, down to earth, Venusian, which is quite a loving, balancing, gentle kind of energy in there as well, which I think is because I am a little bit concerned about this Uranus-Pluto trine. I know the trines are generally a soft aspect, but you do have to also look at, you can't just look at one aspect and take just that aspect alone. You have to look at what else is going on, obviously. So we do also have that Venus will oppose Neptune, which is interesting as well. Sounds kind of beautiful, but definitely be aware of illusions and delusions. And, Neptune has that kind of energy, and then being in that opposing tension space with Venus, definitely it could be, strengthened those sides of Neptune. And even Venus as well. So when it comes to the eclipse season, it does have that kind of karmic underlying energy or dharmic underlying energy. So it is have that potential link to the past and past lives. The nodes follow a 19-year cycle, but even if you were to look at, say, a chart from 19 years ago, you'll find that, maybe the nodes are the same, but, everything else going on basically, except for obviously the sun, or depending on when you're looking at it, would be different. So yeah, so it does affect things in that sense, but it's more in the sense that if you were born around a nodal, significant nodal point in your chart, so say it's conjoining one of your major planets or your ascendant or something like that, that can really affect you and your life in that 19-year cycle. Yeah, it's very apparent for people that are born in that. And the Khalsa yoga is similar. So this is the Vedic system. They have a lot of different interpretations, which are very interesting as well. But anyway, so True Sky Scorpio, the first deck we have is the Tarot of the Sorceress, and on the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Air. So there could be some kind of, this is the underlying energies of the month, the shadow energy. There could be some kind of message that you receive this month that involves some kind of truth, really important truth. It could be someone bringing it to you. So the Knight of Air, that could be an air sign or prominent air houses or planets in their chart. And of the 18 to say mid-30s age range, could be masculine, doesn't have to be. It could just be something that you are also learning this month. Some real underlying important learning, intellectual, even potentially a journey or a trip as well. The first card that you have, however, is the Ace of Water. So this definitely could be a month of some kind of emotional new beginning. And it doesn't have to be in love. It could be within your own life. So it could be where you are discovering some kind of emotion, even that you didn't want in your life, or that you do want in your life, and that you are wanting to kind of change over for something else. And then you have as your crowning card for the month, Scorpio, which I think is really lovely, especially because if you can see here, it actually has that picture of the star. It's like her crown, which I think is really lovely. And it does make me think of that Uranus-Pluto trine, because ultimately, Scorpio, Pluto is your ruling planet, or at least it's a co-ruling planet. Traditionally, Mars was your ruling planet, but in modern astrology, Pluto is. So lovely. I mean, I love the star card anyway. It does have that Aquarian or Uranian type of energy to it though. So, but that is something that could be quite prominent in your life at this time. And partially because your ruler is trining that energy as well. And also, like I was saying about that trine with the Venus as well, these signs are also sextiling, generally sextiling Scorpio as well. So there is actually... with the sextile, there's always an opportunity for like expansion and growth. So I think that's really lovely for you, Scorpio. Your crowning card is the Star, which is all about wishes and hopes, especially for the future. It has a very future kind of dreaming almost orientation to that. And then here also, I really love how that first card, that Ace of Water, is like the water pouring out of this cup into this big stream here. And then it's almost like a movie, because then it kind of like zooms out almost, because then we have the star pouring that water out into the stream. At least that's how I'm seeing it from here. So I mean, they are neighboring cards, so they are connected. So there is some type of new emotional beginning, which is really inspiring these hopes and wishes for your future. And interestingly, in true Scorpio kind of style and fashion here, we actually have this mysterious card right here, which in this deck, I don't know if you can really see that very well. I think I need to get a new camera. There is nothing written on it. And guess what? It is the card for... In this deck, they do not name it. It's like the black card, symbolizing Samhain. It is the card for death. So, once again, in that true Scorpio style, we have a card that is very much linked to your sign, and it's among your crowning cards. I did have this feeling when I was talking about the new emotions coming in, and also these old negative emotions leaving. That was what I felt was really appropriate. And then we do have that death card. So there is some kind of ending, some kind of cutting off period that you're in this month. There can be even some kind of mourning involved. Death is generally about removing the toxic things from your life. So it's quite positive if you look at it in that sense. And sometimes you really need to reach a certain point in your life before you can really do that drastic cutting in your life, cutting away, you know, the things that aren't helping you or feeding you, whatever it is. So it's a very transformative card. And it does have elements of, you know, anger, like that righteous kind of outrage, cleansing, even a sense of harvest. It can have even a destructive energy, and it can be also quite quick in how it occurs. However, the cards around it I don't see as being particularly negative cards. So you've always got to look at the arrangement. But this is in the line of the kind of upper chakras. So we're talking your crown, third eye, and throat chakras, the top 3 cards. So it's to do with all of that higher energy, like the mind, even the voice, and also your, you know, spiritual and in that emotional, but on a sense of the kind of psychic, intuitive levels as well. So that sounds really powerful, and it is a powerful month with the eclipse. The next card we have is the Hierophant. So this card does talk about people in authority. So someone that has some kind of qualification and, you know, working in a job that is, you know, maybe government or institution or on those kinds of levels. And you may need their help this month. So you may need to see some kind of, you know, official authority figure. It can be on a religious level too. So maybe that applies for you. And for here, it is linked with this new emotional beginning. And also the central card now for the month for you, Scorpio, is the 4 of Air. So the 4 of Air is like your 4 of Swords card. And it does indicate that this will be a time of restoration, recuperation, rest for you. So make sure this month you really do take that time to do these things, because you have really important work to do on this spiritual level, but it can be exhausting, this kind of work. You know, new things coming in can be, especially if you are a fixed sign, because often fixed signs don't deal with change that well. And then even all of this manifesting can be exhausting. It's positive to plant seeds, but it's still work, you know. So, and then even this death, this clearing away of this old. The next card we have is the Queen of Fire. So this could be someone this month of importance for you, and it could be linked to this clearing out period. They might inspire it. They might be actively involved in it. You might meet them, and maybe even they are doing that in their life as well. There's a link here with this Death card and this Queen of Fire. The Queen of Fire, like the Queen of Wands card, is linked traditionally with kind of witches. She's quite a magical queen, that Queen of Fire. Here she has a serpent, you know, around her, which is quite interesting symbolism for the Queen of Fire. And she's often of the fire signs or significant fire placements in the fire houses, placements in the fire houses, or the ruling fire sign planets significant in her chart. Very creative, very, you know, inspired, generally an extrovert, and often very creative. Can even be involved in like drama, and that can be on a professional level or just on a personal level, and also can be fertile. So the Fire Queen is like semi-fertile, so she may have some children as well, and also very active. Generally, they're very active. They're into lots of things, and they're always doing things, you know, and you kind of think you might see them at lots of places. It's almost like they don't seem to rest, which does make me think here, having this 4 of Air maybe even you might be teaching them something a bit this month, because it is signifying that there's this need for rest and recuperation. And then we have this active queen right next to it. Potentially this could be your energy too. So this could be saying, you know, you've been this queen of fire, you've been doing all this work, but you also need to rest. The next card we have here is the Five of Water. So the Five of Water does indicate that you could be, this month could be a bit of a time for some kind of significant loss. And there's some grief attached, some kind of regret, and a sense even of mourning this loss. So it's, you know, it's interesting symbolism here with the cards, with the fireplace and the candles, which, you know, maybe doesn't bring quite enough warmth to the space. It kind of has a bit of an illusion there, but I guess also maybe a good place for candles. It does invite you to take a step back and also to allow yourself that time to grieve and mourn whatever it is that has passed. So, and this is for also connected with this Four of Air here. So it could even be that you've been in a sense of loss and mourning for a while, and you maybe even need to take that time to really restore and regenerate your nervous system, because it's quite a shock to the system, a lot of these things. Like I said, Scorpios often don't deal with change very well. And then you do have that Death card as well connecting up here in the corner. So yeah, it's really significant changes. And then for the base of the matter, you have the Four of Fire. So the Four of Fire is more linked with, it's like your Five of Wands card. It is that card of home and family. So very nice and interesting place to have it as the base of the matter card. So these central cards are more to do with the central chakras. So like your throat and your heart and your sacral. And then the bottom three cards here are more linked to the bottom chakras. So your sacral and your base and your solar plexus. Sorry, not the sacral up here. The solar plexus is higher than the sacral. So interesting. Yeah. Wow. Just when I said that and I pointed to the Queen of Fire and I said solar plexus, she could be this. It could be you, but this could be someone in your life, and they could even be a Leo or have like strong solar or, you know, sun or Leo placements, because the solar plexus is linked to that as well. But it could also be you, Scorpio. Maybe you're a Leo rising Scorpio, or you're a Scorpio rising Leo, or a Leo moon, or, you know, I don't know. But yeah, it's just interesting that there's a connection there for some of you. So that Four of Fire to me is saying that you are really needing and wanting this home and family stability based situation this month especially, and you're needing it to be quiet and respectful, interesting, quiet and restful and recuperative. You know, if you can take magnesium salt baths if you need to help you relax, or you know, do some meditation or some yoga or those kinds of calming activities to help you manifest these wishes and these hopes for your future. You know, this is really important that you have this stability at the moment. And to me, it's saying you will have it because it's here. So whatever situation you're in, make sure that you honor it and, you know, obviously be grateful for it. The next card we have is the Five of Air. So the Five of Air is like the Five of Swords. It is traditionally a conflict card. It can even be linked to energies such as dishonesty, treason, and brash actions. So potential fighting amongst people. This could be people around you. It could be you with others. And there is a sense that potentially you may feel, or others may feel, kind of smothered. There's a sense of smothering, and there's also a potential betrayal of trust. So that is an interesting card to have at the bottom here, because potentially it's linked in here with this Queen of Fire, but it's also linked to the Four of Fire. So it could be in your home and family environment. It could be with this Fire Queen, so whether or not this is you, it could be you, or it could be someone in your life. And they're not actually connected to the Four directly, Four of Fire. They are connected to the Four of Air though, and the Death. Yeah, they are connected to the Five of Air. So yeah, they're definitely connected with this conflict. So there's some kind of cutting away because there's the Death. Maybe this Queen of Fire is someone that was quite toxic in your life, and you're actually cutting them out. And that's really important, because you really need this rest and this recuperation, because maybe you're just like overstimulated from this person. They're just too fiery for your, you know, deep Scorpio watery nature, and you're kind of retreating into your home. But there is conflict here as well with this home. So obviously be aware of who you do trust, or because it did say there was a potential betrayal of trust. That wouldn't be for everyone, so take what resonates, you know. But yeah, just be aware that those energies could be connected. Also, they are connected here with the sense of rest as well. So yeah, maybe this Fire Queen has been a bit smothering, but maybe also your family too, and that's why you're also needing to get away here. Also, yeah, so it's linked to this loss as well. So yeah, it sounds to me like you really just need some time alone and away for a while. But the family card there at the bottom isn't. I mean, there's two challenging cards next to it. So maybe it's even signifying that there is a loss of family here, and that you're really mourning that you don't really have that support system, or even that supportive base that you thought you may have, or you did have. Yeah. The next cards I have for you are the Under the Oak Tarot. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess. So there's some kind of underlying energy this month that's really important to do with your intuition and your inner knowing. You may have dreams or some kind of gut knowing, some feelings about things that are quite important. And having the High Priestess to clarify that Knight of Air, it may even be that there's some kind of understanding that you come to this month that you kind of already intuitively knew. You know, it's like a deep knowing about it, but it's made obvious by some, could be someone else. I'm not sure exactly. The Knight could be someone in your life or something that happens. The first card we have to clarify the Ace of Water is the Star. So this is the second time we have the Star for you this month. So to me, this, oh my goodness, that is so interesting, because remember I said that it looked like those cards were connected, and now we do have, once again, we have the water, pouring the water into the water, and then we have, this time there's two, pouring the jugs into the water. So beautiful cards, really beautiful concept too, especially because it is in these upper chakra cards for you for the month. And to me, it's really saying too, you know, it's kind of about what you put out into the world. You know, if you're putting something out with like a good intention, you know, that's always, I mean, it's not always positive, but, you know, it's like that theory of, you know, the bigger and the smaller and how things influence each other. So if you're putting things out into the world with, you know, the right intention, hopefully these waves are going to affect. And to me, I know it has that Aquarian connection, which is a challenging sign to you, Scorpio. But like I said, it is interesting because we do have currently, you know, Uranus could be potentially opposing your sign at the moment because it's in true sky Taurus. And oppositions aren't entirely hard. They're actually, it's that polarizing energy, and the opposing signs are actually quite magical because they really can actually teach each other a lot. You can learn a lot from your opposite sign, because it has that almost like yin and yang kind of energy to it. So that's really interesting that we've had that energy twice in this reading. The Ace of Cups with the Star, which is all about that emotional new beginning, and then these hopes and dreams. And it's very kind of optimistic energy there. And then we do have with the Star again, we have this time the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles is much more earthy and grounded. It's more in the here and now. It's more about your finances and your resources, but it's a very independent number, and it's a very abundant also number. So potentially maybe this is what you're wishing for as well. Not only this new emotional beginning and letting go of this baggage, but also this kind of independence of your resources and, you know, being able to do the things that you need to do, which obviously sounds amazing. So congratulations if that is you. Then for the Death card, the clarification is the Five of Wands. So this is a challenging card. However, because it's to clarify the Death card, I'm seeing a couple of meanings here. So the Five of Wands being about potential arguments between like competitors, competition, that kind of energy. And then the Death is about that, you know, those boundaries and that change and the endings of things. So maybe you've been in a situation like that. Maybe you didn't even realize it was like that, or maybe on some level you kind of knew, but you just kind of had to, you know, go along to get along kind of thing. I'm not sure if that is your situation or not. So, you know, don't take that if it doesn't resonate. But it looks to me like you're ending that. You've decided, no, I don't want to put up with this situation. You know, it's not bringing me the life or the peace or the love or whatever it is that I want. So you're ending it, which is totally fair enough. The other thing that I see here is that not so much that you're just ending that situation. It might just be that those conflicts are ending. Maybe you've found some way to resolve these conflicts. Like maybe there was some kind of underlying tension that just wasn't being looked at, and you've just figured it out that, you know, something, you know, wasn't quite right, and you've used some kind of maybe diplomatic or deep thinking skills to end that conflict. Then you have, for the Hierophant, you have the Five of Swords. So we did have this card, the Five of Swords, already down the bottom though, so it wasn't in the middle row, and this time it's to clarify the Hierophant card. So that Five of Swords card does have that sense of like defeat and trickery. You know, there's that potential for betrayal, like deception, you know, lack of communication. It can have even more, you know, like fighting. It can even be linked to those types of energies as well. But it can have that underlying energy of, you know, that deceptive kind of behavior. So potentially having it here with the Hierophant may mean may mean a few things. It may mean that you are needing to see a professional because of someone's actions on this level. It might mean that you might need to get some kind of like counseling or mental health help or something like that. It could also mean that, I mean, I don't really see it here, but it could mean that, like, say if this was like a divorce or something like that, you might need to see, you know, like a solicitor or, you know, some kind of professional to help you in that, you know, to get the right documents and things like that. I don't really see that, but that could definitely be a potential here. Potentially, it could also be that you have kind of, because the Hierophant is that almost spiritual or religious kind of figure, and they're of that higher mind. So it could even be that you yourself have kind of figured out a way to kind of overcome these deceptive energies or trickery or, you know, aggressiveness, this conflict, by choosing like the higher road. You know that song, like, I'll choose the high road, you choose the low road. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. The Scottish song, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that kind of thing. So it might be just that you have really decided, you know what, this is not worth my time, my energy, my soul, my heart, my, you know, my everything. It's not worth it. There's far more important things that I want to do with my all of the above, and yeah, just not having a bar of it. Then you have, to clarify this, Four of Air, the central card, you have the Magician. So I'm definitely getting that energy here, because the Magician is all about focusing on what it is in your life that you want in your life, you know, becoming this manifester. And putting your energy, and not just your physical energy, your spiritual energy, your mental energy, your heart, you know, all these energies, which is so lovely that you've got this as your central card for the month. I think it's really beautiful, because initially going into this, I did feel like, oh, it could be a bit challenging for Scorpio, you know, but you know, that heart of the Scorpion has kind of come through here with this Magician in the center. You know, saying be almost a bit rebellious. Maybe even it's that, and yeah, that Antares energy. I mean, she does have the Magician here, and this card does have that red hair, so it is making me think of Antares, which to me it has a bit of a rebellious kind of energy and very strong, you know, the heart of the Scorpion. And you're kind of saying, nope, not having a bar of this. I'm manifesting the life that I want. You know, I'm putting my energy into what I think is important. So that is really lovely for this Four of Air here. So it's this sense of rest, recuperation. And you know what? This rest and recuperation is going to really help with your manifesting of this life that you want to live. And also this life that you want to live that does not involve these things that you don't want in your life. Then for the Queen of Fire here, you have the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is, interestingly, could be someone coming in, could be a love offer. The Knight of Cups is quite a romantic knight. So they are linked to the water signs, the water houses, or the water planets. So it could have that in their chart, you know, prominently. But don't have to. It could just be someone that is coming in with a love offer. And because this is, to clarify, our Queen of Fire, potentially it could be the Queen of Fire that's actually coming in with this love offer. Or potentially this Queen of Fire and this Knight of Cups are even connected, because the Knight of Cups, because you are, like, Scorpio is the water sign, so the Knight of Cups could be you. It could be you. So maybe you're even offering your cup to this Queen of Fire. However, be careful, because like I said, that there was that link here with that Queen of Fire to that Five of Air. And also the death card. Maybe you are offering your cup. Maybe this is something that is after something else has ended, or maybe there was a period where it wasn't working out, but things have changed. There's definitely a sense of change here with the death card involved. And then we do have that 5 of Wands, which is at conflict with that change. And then we also have at the bottom here, to clarify, that 5 of air. We have the 4 of Swords to clarify, which is quite interesting because that is also your central card. So your central card is doubled again. So we had the double star, we've had the double 5 of Swords, and then we've also got the double 4 of Swords. So that's all about rest and recuperation. So to deal with this 5 of air, this tricky, challenging, potentially deceptive situation, it is definitely suggesting you need to rest and recuperate. So it kind of does sound to me like you've been dealing with maybe like a bit of a narcissist, or you know, someone that's got some kind of challenging personality, and that you are recovering from this situation this month especially. And potentially it may have been like a karmic kind of situation, because this month with the eclipses suggests a lot of karmic and dharmic energies. It could be linked even with like a past life or something like that. Some kind of, you know, chapter you've been playing out. Then to clarify, the 5 of Water, which is all about this mourning and this loss, and potential regrets. You have the 4 of Wands. So this is about some kind of home and stability situation. So there's some kind of regret around that as well. But this 4 of Wands is also connected with this 5 of Swords. So to me, it is saying that, yes, this home was stable, you know, a good home. However, there was a lot of conflict. There was deception, there was treachery, there was potentially even worse. There was potentially even violence or other, you know, conflicts within this situation. So I can definitely see why you would want to manifest something better in your life. So then for the 4 of Fire here at the bottom, at the base of the matter, you have the King of Wands. So how interesting, because you do have that Queen of Wands this month, and you've also got the King of Wands, which is quite lovely having the pair together. They aren't actually touching at all, but they're both touching the central card. So linked to the central card, actually, they're in this cross formation here, in this corner here. So to me, this is definitely saying this 4 of Fire. So this is that 4 of Wands energy, which is also double this month for you. So there's a definite focus on family, home, stability. There may even be some kind of reunion, family reunion, or something to do with home and family that could crop up this month, because it is doubled, so it's very powerful. And then you've got this King of Wands. So this King of Wands could be like maybe the head of the family, or it could even be like you, but you're just using your leadership potentials, these fiery leadership energies here this month in your home family situation. So the next deck I have for you is the Shaman's Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Shaman of Purification for you for this month. So how fitting. I did pick up on those energies, and here you do have it as your underlying energy for the month. Energies are around cleansing the spirit, entering a new space, transcending shadow states, finding new direction, exercising old fears, change and determination, and reassessment. So that's the underlying energies there. On the crowning card, though, we have the Dancer of Inspiration for you. How lovely with that star and the 9 of Pentacles. Then we have the Hunter of Honor for the central card for the Four of Air and the Magician. And then we have the Hunter of Conflict. Interesting, because that's come up a few times this reading too. And I was thinking that this month could have a bit of that with the eclipses in the Leo and Aquarian signs. So that's for that Four of Fire with the King of Wands. So once again, that kind of home situation linked in there. So the crowning card, the Dancer of Inspirations energies are around imaginative conviction, precision, clarity, striking out to fresh territory, appreciation by others, turning the corner, winning, and creative strength. So wow, I've seen quite a lot of those energies here already, but yeah, that's interesting as your crowning shaman card. The central card for you for the month is the Hunter of Honor, and its energies are around appropriate behavior, honoring the world around you, celebrating differences, praising and accepting praise, finding honorable means, honesty and respect. And then the base of the matter card for you for the month of August, Scorpio, is the Hunter of Conflict. So the energies around this card are to do with struggle, determination, resolution, finding better ways, restoring balance, facing obstacles, courage, energy, healing, harnessing strength to achieve peace. The next cards I have for you for the month of August are the Mists of Avalon Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck, we have Rhiannon. And her energies are around integrity, perseverance, endurance, and focus. So there's some powerful underlying energies there, and that is to clarify the Shaman of Purification. The next deck that I have for you is the Ancestral Oracle of the Celts. And I chose these decks for their for the solar transit through the sign of True Sky Cancer. So I tried to choose decks that had like that association with family especially, and kind of like mothers and women and things like that. The Sorceress deck I chose a little bit because it's kind of almost linked to the, gave me a bit of High Priestess energies, which does have that connection with the moon. So on the bottom of the deck is, for you this month, the shadow energies, Scorpio, are the Prince. So the Prince suggests it's time to undergo the tests that put your attitudes to task. Examinations, trials, interviews, or the grind of studying are the only way forward. If you love what you do, the outcome will be self-evidently successful. I make the heritage and well-being of my land my chief study. The Prince. So that's the underlying energies. Then the crowning card, you've got the Poet, linked to the Dancer of Inspiration. That's a lovely energy combination. The Gilly as the central card for the month, and that is linked with the Hunter of Honor. And the Lad. And the Lad is the base of the matter linked with the Hunter of conflict. So for the crowning card, the Poet suggests it is important to nourish your soul, mind, and heart with whatever brings you inspiration. Oh my goodness. So, and we have him with the Dancer of Inspiration. Your ability to empathize or to imagine walking in another's shoes will be of great benefit. Find the common points of interest so you can build strong links. I refresh the closed heart with the sources of inspiration. Wow, and that is for this crowning position here for you for the month. And then the central card here is the Gilly. I could be mispronouncing these names too. By small increments and successive attempts, you can make your way forward here. Whatever your service, offer your skills with goodwill and without hope of return. Your true worth will finally become known. I find success by service when everyone else has given up hope. Wow, and that's to do with this Hunter of Honor. For that central position of the month. And then the base of the matter is the Lad. It is time to keep your eye on the ball in this game. While few yet know your potentialities, you know that you can be a good player whom others will respect. Someone is about to offer you an opportunity, so be ready for the power to pass your way. You earn your reputation by the deeds you perform. I enjoy whatever keeps my interest and uses my skill to its utmost. And that's with the Hunter of Conflict here for the base of the matter for the month for you. The final cards that I have for you here are the Moon Witch Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck for you, Scorpio, we have Waning Gibbous. Count your blessings. So that's a nice little piece of advice. However, the waning gibbous moon might be of importance to you this month. So it could be good for you to look up when that will be in the month of August. The crowning card, however, for you have the new moon, which suggests a fresh start and new beginnings. And this is for that crowning card position with the Poet and the Inspiration. The central card you have for the month of August is Diana. Be one with nature. So that's really interesting because you did have that underlying energy of the Four of Air, which did suggest that rest and recuperation, potentially even if you can get some fresh air or exercise out in nature, could be really healing for you this month as well. And that's for that with the Gilly here. And then for the base of the matter for you, we have Witch's Hat. Express yourself, share your gifts with the world. And that is linked with the Lad. So these are the cards that I have for you for the month of August, True Sky Scorpio. I hope you have a fantastic month ahead. It looks pretty powerful. It looks very transformative. It is, eclipse season, so be aware that it is a powerful month, and wishing you all the best. Take care. Bye.